Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to the BumbleKast. I am your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is the Tales to my Sonic, Kyle JCRB Krause.
I'm glad you have finally introduced me as I should be introduced. As the second, as your sidekick.
Well, I look at it this way. I'm the bristly thing that's kind of round and rolls around, and you're the one who keeps all the tech stuff running.
I guess we can roll with that.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Well, as promised or threatened last episode, in honor of Sonic the Hedgehog's 25th anniversary, and given my deep personal commitment to the franchise and Kyle's own affinity for the Little Blue Hedgehog, this episode and the next episode is devoted to that Cobalt Crusader of Good, that spiny speed demon. You know him, you love him, Mario the Plumber.
Yep, perfect. No problems there.
Did I telegraph that too much? Did you see that one coming from a mile away?
Mario the Plumber. They haven't even called a game. They need to name a game that. They should have just called it Mario the Plumber.
I'm sure there's some bootleg out there that does that.
Yeah,
but no,
a ROM hack somewhere, yeah.
Seriously, we are talking about Sonic, that enduring icon who's had some ups, who's had some lows, but he's still here, he's still kicking, and boy howdy does he have a huge multimedia franchise behind him, which is why we're doing this over 2 episodes, because you can't really cover everything in one, because there's a lot of Sonic stuff out there.
Oh yeah, and you know, it only took us 19 episodes to finally get around to actually talking about Sonic.
Well, I didn't want this to be Ian's Sonic podcast. That's a little too on the nose. You know, let's have this be about other things.
You know. I mean, this is the 25th anniversary month of Sonic, so
exactly
we gotta do it right.
But today's episode, we're going to be focusing primarily on the roots of the series, namely the games and the music. And while the games are open to debate over their general overall quality, I particularly enjoy them myself, I don't think you can really point to a single game, aside from one that comes to mind, and say it was lackluster in music. Even the games that you can't say are not the best to play, Sonic has always had a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, almost always, for sure. There's a few ones I can point at and maybe go like, that one wasn't so great, but overall, more often than not, for sure.
I mean, Sonic 2006, as much maligned as it is, fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, the music in that game, that's the one thing that probably had the most effort put into it. And they had the most amount of time to work on it, I guess, or I don't know.
I don't know, because the data mining of 2006 showed all that they seemed to be going for. You know,
right.
The truly playable full cast, a playable Metal Sonic. I'd give a nickel to see a 2006 design for Metal Sonic.
That would be cool.
Data mining showed it was going to have the entire soundtrack library for the series, at least the key games, you know, the Genesis era and CD, Heroes, The Adventures, playable Super Sonic, and it really just needed more time. It was not fully optimized. It was clear that it was rushed out the door. Had it been completed as envisioned, I'm willing to bet it would have been the new baseline that they were aiming for, and we would be seeing a much different face of the franchise now.
Right, yeah.
But that didn't happen, and it had a much different effect on the franchise.
Unfortunately,
as we've seen.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't say unfortunately. Because of that, we got the Hedgehog engine, and that got us
That's
the daytime stages of Sonic Unleashed. We got Sonic Colors, which is perhaps my all-time favorite modern-era Sonic game. That got us Generations, which is just one gigantic love letter to the entire series.
Yeah, Colors is definitely one of the standouts, gameplay-wise and musically.
Sweet Mountain. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Love that track so much.
Yes. What's the opening stage's name? Island Resort or...
I believe so.
I think, yeah. That song really gets me going, man. It's a really great track.
But we've already jumped so far ahead. Let's go back to the beginning. What was your first Sonic game?
Mine was actually Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a pack-in game for the Sega Genesis.
There you go. Same with me.
All right. Well, yep. It took me a little while to go back and play Sonic 1, but when I did, I really quite enjoyed it. It's a bit of a different pace. The level design is definitely much more methodical, I suppose, in Sonic 1. Mm-hmm. Requires less speed.
Well, that one was the one where, speed was earned more so than any other game of the franchise, really, except maybe CD. But CD was built more around that methodical exploration, whereas 2 was built more to give you the speed that the franchise had become so famous for immediately.
Yeah. Sonic 2 actually it started out fast, but then as you gradually went through the game, it got slower and slower. And there were some really, unfair level design aspects, like the spike pit in Mystic Cave Zone, the infamous spike pit that you can't escape from. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were certain traps and things that are just like, oh, come on.
I don't think I've ever legit gotten through Wing Fortress Zone simply because of I suppose it's the halfway mark where there's a series of disappearing platforms that you have to jump across. Mm-hmm. And then right at the end, there's a couple of propeller blades. And I played it, my brother played it, my father played it. We couldn't figure out how to get past the propellers because it didn't look like there was another platform to jump to. And it didn't look like you could jump through them because they always knocked you back and you died. So usually we would just debug code our way past that and then go from there.
I have legitimately gotten through that, but it is a bit tricky, yeah. Death Egg Zone in that game, though.
Brutal.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Until you figure out the timing of Silver Sonic, and then he's had kind of a joke. Silver Sonic gets kind of easy, but the giant egg robot at the end. What is the name? What is the official name of that? You would know better than I do. Well, see, I heard it was the Egg Destroyer, which is the name I've used in any of the scripts where it's appeared, but Sonic Generations called it Death Egg Robot.
Death Egg Robot, yeah.
Which I think is kind of bland.
That's very generic. I prefer Egg Destroyer. That's cool.
Or big ol' stomping boots Eggman.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is actually, once you figure out that you can kind of attack it from below its arms instead of above them, that one gets a little easier too. Mm-hmm. But
I just remember the first time I got behind it going, ha-ha,
yeah.
You can't stomp on me, you can't punch me, I got you now. And then he dropped one of those Eggman-shaped bombs right on my head and insta-killed me. And it's like, oh, you thought of that, did you?
Yeah.
300 IQ indeed.
Yes. Curse you, Robotnik.
That was the first game that I really got to mess around with the debug mode, and boy, you could break the game in some fun ways.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Death Egg Robot in particular, I managed to go into the item spawner as the ending cinematic played, so I had the fire trailing me no matter where I went on the screen.
Yeah.
And I apparently went far enough back that it respawned the Egg Destroyer, so everything is exploding. I'm trailing fire. The Egg Destroyer's walking around. Its hit detection is kind of wonky. I'm sometimes supersonic, sometimes not, and boy, it got messed up real fast. But it's fun.
Yeah. I just remember using that to actually give me rings in the Death Egg Zone. Using debug mode. Yeah, because that's the most annoying part, is really not having any sort of fallback on there. That's a kind of tricky.
Oh, I cheesed it for Supersonic.
Yeah.
I am not. I have no shame. I cheesed Supersonic Star.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, how about we talk about one of actually probably my favorite, right up there with CD, Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
There we go.
Or Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, whatever you want to call it.
Call it Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's the true heart of the game.
I think Sonic 3 and Knuckles is really the version that is what the game is supposed to be, pretty much. I know there are some people who prefer some of the design aspects of Sonic 3 alone, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
And we could get into details about, what was originally on the Sonic 3 cart and why it was divided into 2 games and blah, 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 blah. But this has all been well documented online.
Right.
SonicRetro.org has this at length, along with other hacking sites. So let's just focus on what the game itself was and how much fun the co-op was with Sonic and Tails. It did a great job of extending what was Sonic 2, and just the fact that you could have someone take Tails and airlift Sonic to certain places, it blew my mind. It was exactly what my little brother needed for this game. It's like, yay, teamwork!
Yeah, that was really, strangely missing was Tails' flight controls from Sonic 2. It was kind of odd.
Well, Tails was a late addition from my understanding, at least in terms of how he was coded.
Okay. That would make sense.
Actually, I remember my dad playing through a Tails solo run in Sonic 2, and maybe it was just our copy of the game, but we ran into a rather unfortunate glitch where, after defeating the Wing Fortress Zone trap boss, you go into the cinematic where he runs onto the gangplank, and normally Sonic would jump onto the wings of the tornado and give chase, and it would be a little cutscene. Except for whatever reason, Tails wouldn't make the jump onto the tornado. He would jump to his death over and over and over again until he got a game over. And there was no way to stop it.
Huh.
He was not pleased with that.
That's really odd. I've gone through Sonic 2 solo with Tails several times, and I've never heard of
anybody else. I've never heard of anybody else doing it.
Huh. That's really strange.
So it may have been our copy of the game. It may have been just that particular playthrough was bugged. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting. Well, let's jump back to Sonic 3 real quick and talk about the coolest guy on the playground, I think. The coolest guy. Knuckles, the introduction of Knuckles. Yes.
The guy who set the bar for the friendly rival. I will forever remember the moment that we reached Hidden Palace Zone, and Knuckles is there as the boss fight.
Yeah.
And my brother and I are just sitting there going, we have to fight. How do you fight Knuckles? He's not in a robot. Do you just jump on him? Won't that hurt? What do you do? And I figured, well, all right, I'm just going to spin dash from a distance. That's kind of your tried and true mow down anything. And he ducks and bounces you back. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Now it's on. Ready to rumble. I mean, looking back, it's obviously not nearly that difficult, but it felt like my brother and I were organizing some multiplayer, counter ops games. Like, all right, you go from above, sneak in from the back, I'll distract him over here. Oh my god, the AI is so crazy. And nowadays it's just, you can wipe the floor with him in 5 seconds. But at the time, as children, it was the stuff legends were made of.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest moments, I think, of the series at that point. It was just like, oh man, this guy who's been taunting me this whole game, I finally get to fight him. This cool dude.
It also set the bar for final bosses, because Doomsday Zone, the music, the scope, the fact that you were just flying crazy around as Super or Hypersonic, and just everything about it was really that to the wall, end all be all, this is it, big moment. And a lot of the games after that tried to capture that, but never quite made it in some instances. I think the perfect chaos fight in Sonic Adventure got there.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
The final hazard fight in Sonic Adventure 2 definitely hit all the right notes there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, their final boss is not quite so much, although you can tell it's what they were striving for.
Yeah. I really wanted the final boss in Sonic Generations to be just a straight-on 3D remake of Doomsday Zone. That would have been glorious.
It would have, and what's so sad is the final boss of Sonic Generations is like the one black mark on the game.
Uh-huh.
There's no clear distinction between what modern and classic Sonic's playstyles are. The controls are not intuitive in the least. It's so simple that the running dialogue becomes tedious very, very quickly.
Mm.
And classic Super Sonic does not look as cool as the old sprite did. Go back and look at the old Genesis Super Sonic sprite. He looks intimidating.
Oh,
it's not just the Goku-esque hair. I mean, they look like jagged spines. He has got a serious glare on his face.
Yeah.
The pushing animation has changed to look even cooler. Classic Sonic in Generations, classic Super Sonic, I should say, looks too cuddly.
I think they made classic Sonic in general a little too cuddly.
Maybe
a little bit.
That's the only real black mark there, but
that was really something I really wanted. I was like, man, if there's like a Generations remake of Doomsday Zone, I'm all in, but unfortunately there wasn't. But at least we did get an awesome remix of the Big Arms theme.
Oh, that was amazing. And the remix of the fight itself was really good.
Yeah. Man, I still haven't played the 3DS version, though. I really need to get on that, I think. I know it's not...
had a chance. I've just seen highlights of it, but still.
I know it's not nearly to the level of the console version, but I'm still willing to give it a shot.
It's not the train wreck that Sonic Lost World 3DS was, but we'll get to that at another point. Let's go back to the Genesis era games.
Yeah.
Or those in the same area. Did you ever get a chance to play Knuckles Chaotix?
I did, actually, when the 32X was a new thing. I didn't own one, but I got the chance to borrow one and rented Knuckles Chaotix for it.
What'd you think of it?
I like it. It's not a bad game. It is a little easy and, like, really light on enemies, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's got some neat stuff, and I do like the characters that it introduced. The Chaotix, still pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
I do miss Mighty, though. I miss Mighty a lot.
I miss Mighty, too. It is hilariously easy to break the game if you main Charmy and put Vector as your buddy, because then you're just a flying wrecking ball and nothing can stop you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought that having 5 acts per stage with not a lot of variety between the different acts kind of wore out its welcome. But other than that, there were some neat stage ideas. The bosses were a little lackluster, but then Titan Metal Sonic, or Metal Sonic Kai, kind of made up for all those in the sheer scale.
I love the music in Knuckles Chaotix.
It's funky, but it's neat.
Yeah, that's what I really like about it, is that it's just funky. It's really cool.
And then we've got the last real major contender in the Genesis era days, Sonic 3D Blast.
Yeah.
Which was okay on the Genesis, really stood out on the Saturn, if for nothing else, the music quality and the special stages.
I'm actually really not nearly as familiar with the Saturn version of the soundtrack as I should be.
Goodness, this coming from you?
I know. It's weird, but I quite like the Genesis version. I like that they reused some of the songs for Sonic Adventure.
Mm-hmm. I was actually just about to bring up that Rusty Ruin becomes Windy Hill in Sonic Adventure, so that's fun.
Yeah. And
that and Puppet Panic Zone stands out in terms of music quality.
Yeah, I think that becomes Twinkle Park. Something like that.
I'd have to listen to it again. That one I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, Twinkle Park music is definitely from 3D Blast Genesis. Same composer, so makes sense.
And then, of course, we move on to the Dreamcast era, and I remember when the first screenshots for Sonic Adventure leaked, and there was a great deal of confusion online, because this is when the internet community was just beginning to grow.
Yeah.
When we were all young and with fertile minds that had not been tainted by the rigors and the strife of adult life.
Back in 98.
Yeah. And we're sitting there going, is this legit? Is this somebody's really, really good edit or something? And then all the images went down. I'm like, what does this mean?
Uh-oh.
What does this mean? And then the formal announcement of the Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure came out, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing! And then the redesigns came out.
Uh-oh, green eyes.
And the beginning of the debate began. I remember, as a young boy, I was not really thrilled with the graffiti-esque, super limber, half-tumbling over designs.
See, and I was totally into it. I thought it looked awesome. I thought that was cool. But
it also started this trend I had of, here's the new character. Oh no, this is horrible. I'm never going to like this character. They're out of theme. Oh wait, no, I love this character.
Yeah.
Big the cat. Big the cat? You're going to name it Big and he fishes? That doesn't fit with Sonic at all. I hate this idea. And now. Here I am.
I love all these characters. I don't know. Even Big. He's so freaking silly. But yeah, he's so lovable. There's just something about him. I don't know what it is.
It's the simple. I think the fact that he's such an oddball in the group.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't seek adventure. He doesn't particularly like combat or anything active. He would much rather stay in one place and be, which is so unlike everyone else who's just get up and go that it makes him charming in an iconoclastic sort of way.
Yeah. Sonic Adventure, though, was kind of the point where they sort of flanderized Knuckles, I suppose.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Maybe that was a little bit later on, but it seemed like there was the beginnings of that in Sonic Adventure.
I feel like Adventure 1 was the last time we really saw Knuckles as the standalone rival character.
Yeah.
Because I distinctly remember in his story when he confronts Eggman in the Station Square Hotel, Eggman recoils in terror from him. With Sonic, it's the usual banter and threats.
Right.
In Tails' story, I swear the voice direction is more sinister. With Knuckles, the first thing he does is stammer and back away from him. He's still a threat.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
He gets jobbed by Chaos and he gets tricked by Eggman, but that's kind of his thing.
Right.
I think he really started to fall from grace with Sonic Adventure 2 when Shadow rose up as the grim antithesis to Sonic.
Yeah. Shadow kind of killed Knuckles, I think. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean.
He dethroned him, yeah. And from there, it just kind of went.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Sonic Adventures, to me, now this may be just me, and I've debated this with other people, but Sonic Adventure to me also feels like the last time we had anything resembling the classic style controls in a 3D environment. Not counting Generations. I feel like the height and the timing on Sonic's jump, the fact that you are still able to land normal spin jumps on enemies, the spin dash still being a free move, so to speak, instead of being a special move or regulated to hugging turns or something. To me, in terms of the heights of the jump and how long it takes for Sonic to reach full speed, to me felt more like the classic versus everything that came since then, where it moved away from some of the more puzzle platforming and more towards speed.
Yeah. Sonic Adventure was also the point where the music really changed quite a bit. Changed more toward the rock side. There's a lot more guitars going on. There was super cheesy 80s vocals that I just adore, that I just love. Crush 40, one of the best bands in the world, I think.
Open Your Heart remains one of the best things ever.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so good. You fire up the game and it's like, yes! Yes!
But Sonic Adventure, especially compared to the classic era soundtracks and the stuff that came after, really is odd compared to everything else. It's got this almost prog rockish bit to it. Almost, it's very experimental. Lots of electronica stuff.
Yeah.
Not a lot of the heavy bass line and simple melodies that a lot of other games had.
I'm trying to remember if Fumi Kumatani was the composer on Sonic Adventure 2. I think she was, but I know she brought a lot of that to the first Sonic Adventure, because of course not everything was Jun Senaway.
Right.
There was also a lot of Kumatani's work in there, and she's probably along with that most known for doing a lot of the music for Nights into Dreams and Burning Rangers, which is, I'd say Burning Rangers and Sonic Adventure actually, some of the music in there definitely has a very similar style to it.
Right.
So, that's just how I've always kind of heard it. But yeah, I definitely agree. It's like really different. There was a Hot Shelter, I think, which is very kind of a hip hop beat, along with some awesome guitar work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's definitely one of the standout zones. Also, Ice Cap in that game, the be cool, be wild, and be groovy, the snowboard theme. It's just a straight up rock shuffle, and I'm all for that. It's awesome.
That and the game had a lot more experimentation and transition with the music, given that each region of the acts or zones had their own theme to them, and given the Dreamcast load time, it was kind of jarring moving from one to the next.
Yeah.
But you don't really see that in any other Sonic game afterwards. It's maybe a variation between acts or between zones, but nothing so drastically different from region to region.
Yeah, Sonic 3 kind of started the variation between each zone.
But even then, it was still within a theme.
Yeah, but it was like an arrangement, basically, except for Hydro City Zone, but that's like the one exception. All the other ones are pretty similar, except maybe right. Hydro City and Lava Reef are the ones that are different, but Lava Reef also changes completely from Act 1 to Act 2. So.
Right, it's such a dramatic change in scenery that makes enough sense.
It really makes more sense, yeah.
And then we move on to Sonic Adventure 2, which not only set the bar for the gameplay style, the very arcadey, super fast way of playing, at least with Sonic.
Yeah.
But the tonal shift from the bright and colorful nonsense to something a little more grim.
Yeah.
We went from we're fighting a fat man in Mickey Mouse pants to my name is Shadow. My best friend was a little girl who was dying of a terminal disease and then was shot by soldiers in space.
That's a little too grim dark.
It does kind of push the envelope.
It swings. It really swings the pendulum way back the other way.
Yeah.
That's not to say that I don't have some love for it, but still, it's definitely one of those tonal shifts where it's like, whoa, man, this is weird.
And while you could say that it went too dark, maybe set the bar a little too far on that end of the shader, I did like the stakes of some of the battles, especially the confrontation aboard the Ark when Eggman tricks Sonic into the tube.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he gets Tails to reveal where the fake emerald is, that he launches Sonic into space and then blows it up in the atmosphere, and immediately turns around and starts using Amy's life as a bargaining chip to get Tails to comply. That's dark.
Yeah.
Certainly. But somehow it feels more like this is the level of danger Eggman needs to exert. Because if you really think about it, this is a guy who personally, since the very first game, rides in with his battle armor and turns cute, adorable critters into things with blades and motors. So he's never really been cuddly, it's just he's kind of goofy looking, and it's a very tricky balancing act between the two.
Yeah.
I thought Sonic Adventure 2 maybe went a little further onto the menacing side, but it was still something that was satisfying, especially playing as him. Oh man, playing the Eggman levels are so much fun.
I like the Eggman levels a lot, yeah. The Tails and Eggman levels are pretty fun in those games. I don't like the treasure hunting levels. At all.
Here's where we're going to... Because I don't know, I know this is all me, because I've talked to other people and they give me funny looks when I say this, but to me, Tails felt completely different from Eggman. I know that they have the exact same play style overall, but to me, Tails felt very slippery and unwieldy.
Mm-hmm.
Like his big gangly legs in the Cyclone just couldn't make up their mind which way they were going, and I hated all the Tails levels. Eggman, perfectly fine with. Treasure hunting, loved those stages. Replayed them over and over and over again. Memorized every possible location, even in hard mode. Loved those.
I just couldn't stand the freaking radar and not being able to find things. It's just irritating to me to spend 15 minutes looking for one shard. I wanted to play Sonic. I think that's just what I wanted. I wanted more Sonic levels.
I definitely sunk a half hour into Pumpkin Hill first time through and was really frustrated. But afterwards...
the one thing I do love about the treasure hunting areas is the music, of course. Pumpkin Hill. That's some great hip-hop right there.
Yes, it does. Well, I don't know about great, but it definitely has some hip-hop in there.
Well, yeah. Come on. Don't hate.
Well, I can't totally, because it's playing in my head right now.
Yes, see?
It also had one of the scariest upgrades to get in any Sonic game. Knuckles' air necklace in Aquatic Mine.
I don't remember.
It is in a very tricky to find underwater tunnel. And you have to do it perfectly because it's just long enough that you only have enough breath to reach the end.
Oh.
The first thing you hit is a speed booster that shoots you back out the tunnel, throwing off your groove. So you've got to swim past that.
Of course.
You're fighting the camera initially, and then you've got to go up a vertical shaft filled with spinning mace balls. And any hit is going to bump you down and slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you lose all your rings, which fall straight down, which means you don't have enough time to grab them. You have to keep going up. Mm. And as you're reaching the top, the counter starts down, and that terrifying, absolutely bone-chilling drowning music starts. And right as you hit the surface, there's the air necklace.
Eesh. Yeah, I must have, that must have traumatized me, because I completely put it out of mind and forgot about it. I know I had to have gotten it at some point, because I played through the entire game, but man.
And I would imagine that it's a required upgrade, because in Canon's Core, the level where you play as each character in succession, Knuckles section, I believe, requires you to have it, because otherwise you've got to grab the bubbles, and I think there's only 2 spawn points in his entire section. And it's tricky enough hitting those time stop buttons and navigating between the lasers and the blocks and stuff without having to worry about the air counter. So, ooh.
Yeah.
It was rough playing as a Knuckles fan.
I do remember the final boss fight of Sonic Adventure 2. That was definitely one of the times where it was just, you got Live and Learn blaring at you.
Yes.
Yeah, and you just you Super Sonic and Super Shadow just going at this freaking thing. It's like, yes, this is great. This is almost like Doomsday Zone all over again. This is awesome.
I distinctly remember sitting there with my brother as the cutscene's playing, and they're standing there with the Chaos Emeralds, and we're like, okay, Super Sonic fight. Shadow's standing right next to him in the same pose. We only get a Super Sonic. Oh, crap, it's Super Shadow? What?
Yeah.
How are we going to play as 2 Super Sonics? Oh, they go back and forth. Oh,
yes.
Mind blown.
Yes, that was awesome. Oh, man.
Actually, remember there was a bit of flavor text saying that in 5 minutes, the Ark will enter the atmosphere and hit the planet. And I dragged that fight out as long as I could to see if there was a special ending where it actually did hit the planet. And no, you run out of rings before you can really last that long, as far as I remember. But
it's a Sonic
threat.
It's a Sonic game. Unfortunately, you can't blow up the world.
That and the re-entry flames kind of building around the final hazard's face if you take too long. That just really, really sets the mood of hurry, 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 hurry.
Yeah. Whew, man. We got Sonic Heroes next, yeah.
Which is the first game where I would say the only major saving grace is the music, which is funky, and I like it on its own, but I didn't really enjoy it as I was playing the games.
Really?
Specifically, Bingo Highway and Casino... No. Bingo Highway and... Is it Casino Park?
Yes, Casino Park, yeah.
Playing the game, I thought the soundtrack was extremely distracting. Listening to it on its own, love it. Great, crazy track.
I love both of those tracks, yeah. I love the Sonic Heroes soundtrack. It's pretty great. Mystic Mansion, that's some great music right there, yes.
And Mystic Mansion has so many tiny details. We've covered this in previous podcasts, but in Hang Castle especially, there's one region where there's a giant stone Eggman statue built into the castle, And then when you flip the stage upside down, it turns into Neo Metal Sonic.
Yeah. That was
And
cool.
if you're not paying attention, you miss that entirely.
Yeah. Yep, that was awesome.
And we've covered that, it's basically Chaotix 2.0. We got the Chaotix back. We got Metal Sonic back. It did a lot of nice little things, but overall, not a fan of the gameplay.
Yeah, I liked Sonic Heroes, but it definitely kind of wore out its welcome as you got toward the end of the game. It's pretty long, surprisingly. And you do have to play through it several times with different characters. And the special stages are kind of annoying. Especially given that you have to hold on to the emerald and beat the level without dying after you get out of the special stage. It's kind of obnoxious.
At the very least, though, your emerald counts against all characters, so you can cheese it with Team Rose.
Right, that's the easiest way to do it.
It is a bit obnoxious to, find key, hold on to key, reach the end of the stage without being hit.
Yeah.
Then complete...
Yeah, then you have to complete the special stage, and the special stage,
That and you couldn't do... It only counted for Act 2. If you did it in Act 1, that was just your practice run, and there wasn't any real need to practice it. So...
The special stage was this really weird combination of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3's special stages, and and doing that doesn't really work.
Well, it was also a beefed-up version of Chaotix's special stage. That's true,
yeah. Which I actually kind of like Chaotix's special stage, even though it is kind of wonky and hard to control. It is very, it's very wonky, but I kind of dig it. It's fun. It has its charm.
Well, you also don't lose all momentum randomly by hitting the ceiling.
Right, yeah. Yeesh.
And what I'm made of is another fantastic boss track, but the fight with Neo Metal Sonic, or Metal Overlord if you prefer, not so hot. I see what they were going for, but the visuals were lackluster.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it still sticks in my craw that here we have this moment for the triumphant return of Super Tails and Super Knuckles, and all I get are Super Shields.
Yeah,
that's the beginning of the policy of only hedgehogs can go super. Yeah, but I still don't like it.
It's a horrible policy. Sega, are you listening? It's terrible. I don't like it. My opinion matters. It doesn't matter. But I want to pretend it does.
And then we move on to where things get a little sketchy, and that's Shadow the Hedgehog. Built off the Heroes engine.
I never finished Shadow the Hedgehog.
I got to the final story. I did all obviously not all possible stories, because every single possible path had its own title, so there's like 650-something possible scenarios, but I got all the endings and the final story. And went back to play it just for old time's sake a few months ago, and the save had corrupted.
Aww.
I had to start from scratch. I was like, no, I can't do this again. I'm sorry, I just...
I think I went through maybe one or two paths, and I was like, yep, I'm good. I don't need to play anymore. Some of the music in it's good, but I'm good. I don't need to carry on with this.
Now, there are gems in there.
Right.
I greatly enjoy a lot of music tracks, as we've said.
Of course.
A lot of them are very nice ambient tracks, surprisingly laid back for a game about shooting aliens in the face.
Yeah, and this was also the point where there was a lot more outright metal, I would say.
Right.
The tone really changed and shifted at this point.
I think the weapon system and the morality system could have been neat game mechanics. They just weren't fully realized, I suppose.
Yeah, the implementation was sloppy.
The fact that you could have a second player play as the buddy character.
Yeah, that was kind of cool, touch. Yeah.
If nothing else, for the flashback scenes, to have Maria with her little weak, limp-wristed slap. Sweet little Maria running up to soldiers going, That's hilarious. I don't care who you are. That's funny.
And of course, this is where the meme was born, where we had to go find the computer room.
Well, there's that one, and where's that fourth chaos?
Yes. Are we allowed to say that on here?
Yeah, we'll censor it later.
Yeah.
To the power of chaos control.
Yeah. It's in the game. I mean, we're just quoting the game.
Yeah, well, our podcast isn't rated E+10, which was invented
yes,
for this game.
That was one of the things that Shadow the Hedgehog did, was in fact invented the E10 plus rating. Because it was like this cute, cuddly hedgehog character with a gun. So they're like, maybe kids below 10 shouldn't play this.
If nothing else, in the intro cinematic, when you have Sonic running down the street and all the characters kind of come in and fall in step behind him, that is a cool visual. As a Sonic fan, that looks awesome. Yeah. I don't care who you are. That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
You kind of have to overlook shadow pumping an assault rifle like a shotgun, but, once you get past that group shot's cool.
Yeah. And then we get into the Storybook series, I suppose, or was there something else after this?
Storybook was around that era. We've already touched on Sonic 06, and that's been talked to death by everyone already.
Right.
For 10 years now.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years old since that game. Jeez, Pete.
Yeah. Yep.
But you want to talk about fantastic music. The Storybook series is phenomenal. Never mind all the funky, groovy tracks out of Secret Rings. But, oh shoot, what is the boss track from Black Knight?
Is that With Me? I think
yes!
I think that's when it is, yeah.
Now, that was a final boss fight that got me pumped like Doomsday Zone.
Yeah. The most exciting part of that track for me was Megadeth guitarist Marty Friedman playing the lead guitar in that one, doing some awesome solo work. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. Megadeth guitarist in a Sonic game. This is freaking cool.
It's one of the few times where I lost to the final boss on my first attempt, and I didn't mind because that meant I got to play through it again.
Yeah.
I get to hear the track again. I get to go swinging my Uber sword around, flying around golden armor. Oh, fantastic. And the story, too. Absolutely top-notch.
The story was
Marlena's turn,
yeah.
What did caught me completely by surprise, the fake ending, absolutely fantastic. And you get to play as Shadow, Blaze, and Knuckles. And Knuckles, this is pretty much the first time since Adventure 2 you've really gotten to play as Knuckles in his old playstyle, aside from the swords. The jumping and the gliding, it was like, hello, old friend.
Yeah.
I've missed you.
Oh, man. I've played Black Knight, but I really didn't get very far, and it's unfortunate. I've heard the soundtrack, and the soundtrack is excellent, but I'm just like, the game is a little rough.
The controls are lackluster in both.
In both of the games, yeah.
All right, Secret Rings is egregious for making you level up the basic control scheme.
Yeah.
Just to make it playable. That's inexcusable. That was a poor idea from the get-go.
Yeah.
Aside from that, though, once you get the controls into a playable state, it actually works fairly well, especially for early Wii motion controls.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the visuals and the music really are fantastic.
Yeah, there was a completely different composer for Secret Rings, and I think they really brought something quite different to the games, but it definitely works.
And then we had something of a lull, and things got reinvented with the Hedgehog engine in Sonic Unleashed, where, love it or hate it, we had the Werehog come in, and again, groovy music.
Yeah.
Like the jazz for the battles. Kind of sad that it overwrote any of the nighttime music. But the story was fun. It had that level of danger and darkness that SA2 had, but didn't quite go as grim and gritty.
Yeah.
Which I think is a nice balance.
Mm-hmm. My problem with Unleashed is just the Werehog levels. I wanted to like them, but it really just felt like a slog to really. They did
overstay their welcome.
And the bosses, the fact that they put the boss fights in the Werehog levels, at least as far as I played, was just like, oh man, this is so freaking tedious.
I was a bit divided between the two, because you had Egg Beetle and Egg Ray.
Okay.
And a third one is Sonic, and I can't remember. It was in Autobot. But the running battles of Sonic were all really cool.
Yeah.
I wish we had more of those.
Yeah, I guess I didn't get far enough to get into that, but... Yeah.
Well, collecting all the Sun and Moon medals so you could progress was kind of not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, exploring the hub worlds in the 360 and PS3 version was a lot of fun. The amount of detail was absolutely fantastic. The Gorihori-styled humans were delightful to look upon. There's a lot of good stuff in Unleashed. It's just there's that one or two things that kind of bring it down, I guess.
Yeah.
But they are very few and far between. Overall, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, Unleashed was the debut of Tomoya Otani, I believe, for composition, and that's where we got things like Rooftop Run and a lot of the more upbeat tracks and some really cool different stuff that really liked.
And then, of course, we go on to Sonic Colors, which introduced the Wisps, which seem to be somewhat divisive. I like them, personally, especially how they were implemented in Colors, because they were optional power-ups, like the Flame Shield or the Lightning Shield. You could use them and do something fun, or you could bypass them and play the stage normally.
Right. Yeah, they were optional for the most part.
Now, some of the side missions were more required, like the blue block puzzles, but overall, you could do it as Sonic, or you could do it with the Wisps, and that, to me, is the way it should be.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, Colors was really a return to form, I'd say.
And we're forgetting the handheld side, the Advance series in its entirety, the Rush series, Rivals.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Sonic Advance 2, I think was the one I played. My girlfriend was disappointed by it because she read it as Sonic 2 Advance. So she assumed it was a port of Sonic 2 to the Game Boy Advance, and she played it and she was disappointed. But I played it and had some fun with it, so...
I really liked the buddy system in Sonic Advance 3 and the way you could pair them up and get different abilities out of each of them. Most of them were useless, and there were obviously superior pairs to others, but just the little differences between each one were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
like the fact that if you've got Amy as the lead and Knuckles as the partner, her hammer turns into the giant green hammer that you only see as her upgrade in Sonic Adventure. That's a neat touch.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Sonic Rush quite a bit. And Blaze, I think Blaze was one of the better character additions of the series, at least at that point. I mean, I think we've talked about her before, where she was kind of like, everything about her seems kind of like she should be like a Mary Sue kind of character.
Oh, she shouldn't work at all.
Yeah,
she's a cursed princess from another dimension who has fire powers. That screams bad original character, and she's one of the best things to happen to the franchise.
Yeah, she's really freaking cool. I like her a lot.
I would take Rush Adventure over Rush, just because Rush felt a little padded playing through the stages as both characters with no major differences between the two. Rush Adventure, with its option to switch between them, with the exploration between the islands, with the little different mini-games on the different boats, I thought it felt like it was a great way to expand upon what came before. Rush was good.
Right.
I thought Rush Adventure did a good job of expanding upon what was there and making it a more robust game, and I really wish we could get a Rush 3.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get much of a chance to play Rush Adventure. I should probably go back to that, but...
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rush was great. I really loved it. I want to go back and play that one too.
What I want to love is Sonic Battle, because you have a almost Smash Brothers-esque Sonic fighter with a fantastic story.
Yeah.
But it's really not fun to play solo.
It is a bit lackluster by yourself, at least, which is the only way I was able to play it. There's
one level in Knuckles' story that is just controller breaking, infuriating when you're fighting the three not Gammas. And each one has a different insta-kill move on it. So the only way I figured out how to beat it was to run ahead of them, charge up your special, and use the insta-kill move to weed them out, because one of them is going to be immune to it. And just keep running around the stage, slowly but surely killing them off until it was just the one of them and you could pummel them.
Yeah.
That took a lot of tries.
Nice. Sonic Battle had some of the weirdest music, I'd say, of the franchise. It's among one of the weirder ones.
I don't remember any of the music tracks.
It's the one with that really high-pitched, squealy guitar that's kind of out of tune-ish. It's. I can see what they were going for. It was a little creative, but some of the songs were a little weird. I don't know if anyone's really a huge fan of that. I do like the. I think it's like the opening, the first level, the first battle theme that I really like, but it's definitely an acquired taste, and the sample quality of the original DS probably doesn't help it at all, because it's just a weird guitar sample that they used. But I had some fun with it, but yeah, it was a little weird.
And then there's the two black sheep of the family, Sonic Rivals 1 and 2, which I liked. I legitimately enjoyed them, as much as they frustrated me every now and again. It was basically the two-player race mode from Sonic 3, just far more robust.
Yeah, I never got the chance to play them since they never owned a PSP.
If you can find a cheap PSP and find the games for resale somewhere, I would recommend grabbing them and just playing through them. I thought I had fun with them. It was kind of like I said, the Sonic 3 two-player stage, plus a little bit of Mario Kart with a couple of the items that you could use to throw back and forth.
Yeah.
And the stories weren't anything to write home about, but I thought the writing was solid overall. There's a bit in the second game where Silver's whole mission is to grab these Chow before they're sacrificed to an evil god. Rouge doesn't buy his story at all, and she starts making fun of him, and Silver completely misses the fact that she's picking on him. She's like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Save the Chow and save the world, right? And he's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, Silver, you adorable dork.
That was like the only game with Bentley Jones doing the composition. Like he was the main composer for that, for the second one, which I thought was pretty interesting.
And it has the distinction of having a Crush 40 opening theme.
Well, yeah, I guess between the two games, yeah. I was going to say.
And in the previous podcast, we covered the racing games, Riders, Sonic R, Sega and Sonic All-Stars Racers.
Yeah.
There is just and we haven't even touched on some of the other oddball stuff, like the cell phone games, both the old and the new, some of the more niche things like the Sonic Pinball. It's just the Waku Waku Sonic Patrol, Sega Sonic Arcade, the really obscure stuff.
The popcorn, the popcorn maker.
The popcorn maker game. Which I'm apparently obligated to play now. More than one fan has said, if you are truly a Sonic fan, you must find a ROM and play this.
You must, right. Not only must you play it, you must adapt it.
There's probably going to be some obscure little side moment in there that's like, hey, that'd be kind of neat, and use it in a story. And then people will go, what is wrong with you? Go outside, man.
Why? There's nothing good out there. There's no Sonic outside. Why would you bother going out there?
Because I want to feel the sunshine, because it brightens up my day.
Can't you feel the sunshine when you need to run away? Or whatever the lyric was.
Just think about the good times.
I can't even remember the lyrics. You put me on the spot. I can always remember the lyrics to Supersonic Racing, but Can't You Feel the Sunshine, I always kind of stumble on.
Well, this show's already going a bit long, and all we did was cover games and music.
Yeah,
we should probably move on, because folks are going to get a little tired. And
yeah, let's talk some more Sonic. Let's talk about some more Sonic in the Q&A.
Alrighty, so we don't have any Patreon ads this week, and we don't have any Patreon Q&A. That's all right. There's always next show. If you want to get ahead of everyone else in the regular Q&A, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast. Chuck a few dollars our way, and we will get you ahead of the line.
Yep, and don't forget, you can always ask your questions on Twitter using the hashtag BumbleKast, or you can email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com. All right.
Speed ahead into the standard Q&A.
All right. First question comes from Antonio C. I was 9 when I first read issue number 169. That seems quite young.
Yeah. Thanks for making me feel old there, Antonio. Let's continue.
Despite not having enough time to develop with the characters, I felt the impact from Tommy's death. Spoiler.
So did Tommy. Hi-oh!
Spoiler alert, by the way. Can we expect to see recreations of past issues in the new universe? Example would be number 71, which I don't remember. Although I'm sure I read it at some point.
I think the meat of the question is, are we going to see events that were very prominent in the old run get recreated in the new run?
Yeah, or maybe like a flashback or something? I don't know.
Or flashbacks, and the overall answer is no. This is the new direction, and I don't want it hindered or hollowed by relying on the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if there's one old moment I'd like to recreate, it would be the famous limit. I got your limit right here from Sonic 175. And I think that one's the exception because it is a moment of Sonic reaching a breaking point, and that's kind of universal. It's core to the character, not to the era of the book.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I'm not going out of my way to put Sonic in that position again just so I can reuse that line. It's that moment, it's happened, and unless I find a really good reason to reach that again organically in the new run,
mm-hmm.
I'd rather not retread it.
This is the all-new, all-different Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, folks are talking about, could you just make an XB of Shard or Scourge or any of these other characters? And it's like, sure, but why? They worked within their context of their old continuity. If we just recreated them in the new continuity, it would be hollow, Yeah,
it would be a little forced.
Now, the reason why Scourge worked in his context was because he was a study of Sonic without morality. All the power without the moral compass. And then there was another layer to it where he had the identity crisis of being Sonic, being purely derivative, and trying to find an identity through the vilest way possible. That worked for his character in his context. If we were to follow a similar path with a new type of character, that would be that character, but they would need to be able to stand alone on their own merit.
Right.
And if I want to go to that much trouble, I might as well create something new.
Yeah. Just doing a straight-up retread would be just covering ground that you've already covered, really.
Exactly. And I understand the desire to bring back some of the more favorite characters during my run. Believe me, I would love to bring them back too. But there's a reason why they worked then, and there's a reason why I'm focusing on the stuff now. I mean, characters like Relic and Eclipse, who were big gambles at the very beginning. Here are these brand new characters in this new direction, and folks are already pretty salty about losing all the old stuff. Will they be accepting of these new characters? And because we put so much time and effort into making sure that they worked within the new context, they've taken off. People have really latched onto them. It's kind of like with Blaze. Eclipse should not work. He's the evil sort of twin alien clone hybrid of Shadow from space. No, that is a terrible OC character on paper. But we made him work.
Yeah. That's
in large part thanks to the design team, Ryan Jampol, and I believe Jamal Peppers drew that arc. They really sold it visually, and there was a lot of work with, I believe Paul Kaminsky was still editing at that point, getting that up and running to make it all work. So, and I know that there was a lot of back and forth I had with Aaliyah, how do we make this work? How do we avoid the pitfalls that this instantly creates for us?
Right.
So with all that effort going into new stuff, I don't want to spend that kind of effort trying to take something old and making it fit into the new.
I think I like the new characters a lot, and I think, just kind of embrace it. Embrace the newness. Sure, the old stories are still there, you can still go back and read them, but we got some new stuff, some cool stuff. Come on. It's all good. Alright, we got one from @Ultrasonic8000. He's not over 9,000 though, so
it's still pretty high. It's
pretty good. The power level is pretty good, but not over 9,000. Come on, it's a freaking old joke. What am I doing? All these old memes. Anyway, All those Capcom and Sega worlds in Worlds Unite, were they located outside of Sonic's multiverse? Is Sonic's multiverse even still a thing? That's my question, by the way. I'm sorry.
Sneaking one in there, getting ahead of the line. I snagged that
on there, yes.
Crafty.
Yes. That last bit was mine. Because we haven't seen any of that yet.
No, and I wouldn't want to put too fine a point on it just yet, because this is the new universe, and I'm focusing a whole lot on Sonic's world and the immediate dimensions around it, namely the Soul Dimension and what planets we've seen, like the Wisp planet.
Right.
And we're not really going to be touching upon those other franchises anytime soon, so I don't want to say, yes, this is definitely the way this works in the cosmology, because that might change in the future if we ever go back to it and have to revise what I have in my head right now. Mm-hmm. So you can, I guess for the moment, consider them part of a grander multiverse, but that's not anything set in stone. That's not hard canon.
Yeah. That works for me. Next question is from Full Metal King 81. Will there be another Sonic Encyclopedia to continue with the additional characters from the after the Echidna disappearance?
I want one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want one.
It would be cool.
I have drafted what it could be, and I keep going to Vin and saying, so, we got a budget for an encyclopedia? Can we do it today? I'll write it right now. Come on, Vin, gimme. But we can't do it just now. Right now we're focusing on finishing up the Shattered World Crisis. We've got Sonic Mega Drive coming out in July. There's other things in the back room that I can't talk about, things that are exciting, but it's definitely something I want to do. It's something that I know Vin, the editor, wants to do. It's just a matter of getting it approved and finding the budget for it. Because it's a lot of work. That's a lot of new art, it's a lot of new writing, and it takes up a lot of time. And it's a huge undertaking putting it together. So we'll see. It's definitely on my personal agenda, but we'll see how that goes.
It would definitely be nice to have a reference for a lot of the newer characters. But we'll see. Diamond Death has a rather lengthy question here. Are there any non-canon, or perhaps canon but ignored, Sonic video games that you would like to incorporate elements from? Or even non-canon elements? Like Mecha Knuckles from Sonic Pocket Adventure, and Dr. Eggman changing outfits in Sonic Pocket Adventure, the fake Hidden Palace Zone from Sonic 2, the mobile version, any of the other scrapped levels from those games, Eggbot from Sonic Chronicles, and if so, are you willing to divulge any potential ideas on how you might incorporate them?
First half, yes. Second half, no. Next question.
Okay. That works.
No, if you don't know me by now,
you're going to pull from everything.
I'm going to pull from everything. I'm a gigantic Sonic nerd. If I can find a place to use some old, obscure bit of Sonic fluff, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to go out of my way to shoehorn it in most of the time. As long as I can make it part of the story without it being too much of a derailment, I'm definitely going to look into it. Some stuff is so obscure or wouldn't necessarily be approved that it's not worth the effort, and other stuff is I just haven't had a place to use it yet. There's one thing in that question in particular that I'm going to hashtag knowing smile about.
Uh-oh.
Since it's going to come up pretty soon.
Uh-oh.
But, no, I'm not going to divulge any of it, because that ruins the surprise.
Yeah, come on.
Or everyone's going to be looking for it, and it's like, oh, did you mean it this and this? Just read the story, enjoy it, and if you pick up on it, good for you.
Come on.
I definitely am going to go back, look at some of the old stuff, look at the new stuff, and see where I can sneak little bits here and there in.
I'm still gonna push for a Sonic popcorn backup story. Just do a whole backup story on it. Why not?
I wonder if somebody's already done a full playthrough. Let's play Sonic Popcorn Maker.
I don't think it's even a game. I think it's just a little video, isn't it?
I don't know.
Like,
I just know that they found it, and it's like, oh, we found it.
It's like less than 5 minutes long. I don't even know if it's like a real... Actually, I guess maybe there is some little gameplay elements of it, but it's not like you're not going to get your popcorn. That'd be kind of a ripoff. I paid for my popcorn, dang it. Give me my popcorn.
You fail the game, it just gives you a bag with some butter in it, and Eggman laughs at you.
That's got to happen in the book now. just a bag full of unpopped kernels. That's all you get.
When they showed off what was originally Sega Sonic Arcade, the old puzzler,
right.
Sonic Brothers, that didn't get beyond the test demo. And you've got Sonic with Red Sonic and Yellow Sonic sitting there. It's like, all right, can I use this for something? Is this worth pursuing? Probably not, but it's going to bug me. I'm going to find some way to reference that somewhere. You're going to get
some Ashura the Hedgehog going on.
Actually,
multicolored hedgehogs.
Going to address that straight up. This is where there's kind of a fuzzy line, and this, I guess, is a clear indicator of how I approach the fandom.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked with the quote-unquote creator of Ashura. The guy who first found the waterfall glitch.
Discovered the glitch.
And did the initial design. And then the guy who took over as, I guess, the chief or primary writer of fanfiction and role-playing online back when we were kids. Who, I guess, for lack of a better term, owned the character.
Right.
Now, you could say that it's a glitch, and it's become part of the popular fan mythos that nobody truly owns the concept. It's derivative. It's Sonic just with, green and black stripes.
Yeah.
But I've talked with these people personally. I know that they have invested creative energy into it. And even if they don't care about it anymore, they've probably moved on from Sonic now and doing something else with their lives. I still know that it's not my concept and that I wouldn't be able to appropriately share the rights, so to speak.
Right.
So, I'm actually not going to touch Ashura, not in the way that the fandom knows it. We're not going to have the green hedgehog with the black stripe who's Sonic's evil twin brother. That's not going to happen because I know that's a fan creation, and I'm not going to use something that's not mine.
I was just making a joke. But, yes, you probably should clarify.
I want folks to understand my position with the whole fandom and using fan ideas,
Yeah, right.
Unless they can get appropriate and acknowledgement, I don't want to do it, because that's not fair to them.
Right.
Even though, 99% of them out there would be just thrilled to see their creation show up in the book somehow.
Yeah.
There's always that one person who would cause a problem, or there's always something could crop up that would spoil the fun, so just to be safe for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my guns.
All right. We got another question here from Robotnik Holmes. I didn't know Robotnik was related to Sherlock Holmes.
No, brilliant, off to the side, not good with people.
True. All right, I can see it. All right. I noticed Flynn referenced TF2's Heavy earlier. So, which TF2 classes do you two think the heroes and egg bosses would suit best?
Oh dear, here we go.
Yeah.
This again. And to be clear, I don't just reference TF2, I reference a lot of stuff.
Well, true, yeah. Sonic's pretty obvious.
And I have a special affinity for Heavy Weapons guy. He just has all the best quotes.
Yes. It's true, he does.
What's that sandwich? Kill them all? Good idea! I will kill you and kill you and kill you. I've seen a lot of fan speculation over this, and I don't think there's really a great one-to-one to everybody, depending on how close you want to be to which one is which. I mean, do you want to include Fang, the sniper, for the sniper, even though he's not a heroic character? Do you want to toss Sonic in as the scout, even though he's not nearly as brain-dead, but he's that fast? Do you want to put Vector as the heavy weapons guy because he's the type of guy who would get into combat? Or do you want to do Big because he's big and round?
Yeah.
Who do you toss in as the medic? Because there's no mad scientist outside of Dr. Eggman, and again, that doesn't feel like it quite fits the theme.
Right.
I'm overthinking the question, I realize that, but... And honestly, I don't know if the egg bosses would fit into the 9 slots very well at all.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about this one earlier. It was like, where would they go?
I mean, Clove is arguably the quickest of them, but she's not remotely like the Scout in personality or skill set.
Yeah.
I suppose the most vehement, patriotic, destructive one would be Thunderbolt, so maybe she's a parallel to the Soldier, but they don't really sync up visually.
Yeah. Conquering Storm, maybe Spy?
And the refinement, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But see, Hood is more of the backstabbing.
Yeah, that's true.
Sneaky,
we do have Hood. Hood would work for that, too. I mean, we don't necessarily... They can be a crossover, I suppose. They don't have to be completely just one-to-one, each one.
Whatever you feel like works best, take that as your personal roster. I'm not really going to argue with it. It's yours. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Now, which Overwatch characters?
Jeez. I can't even begin to... That roster's too big. I can't follow it.
Tracer is Sonic. That's that's all you need to know. She really kind of is, though, actually.
Yeah, I suppose, with the quickness and the high-spiritedness.
Her personality...
But she time travels. Technically, she time travels, so doesn't that make her more like Silver? Oh, overthinking it. You didn't see that coming.
You're doing it again.
Raining on your parade, man. Yeah. Being obnoxiously nerdy.
Yes,
1-2 punch. Ruining the fun. Oh, yeah.
All right, we've got one last question. This is a silly one. From NxtWaltDisney. You still think Marine needs to be hit with a rock?
No. Not a rock. All the rocks. The big ones, the small ones, the pointy ones, the flaming ones. All the rocks.
And you told me I should play Sonic Rush Adventure. What's up with that?
No, the running gag, for those who don't know, is me hating on Marine because she's hyperactive and ridiculously overly faux Australian. But no, she's fun in the same way that she acts as a foil to Blaze.
Yeah.
Which makes her endearing in the same way Cream acts as a foil to Amy, Big acts as a foil to the entire cast. It's...
I really enjoyed Marine in Pirate Plunder Panic. That's a bit of a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
In that arc. She was really good there, and I quite enjoyed it.
Props to Tracy for that one.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. All right. I think we're at the end of the show, unless you had anything else you wanted to touch on, Ian, before we head off.
Actually, yes. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area this weekend, I will be at Heroes Con on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. You can see me, Aaliyah Baker, Tracy Yardley, Chad Thomas, Adam Bryce Thomas, and Jim Amish. It's a huge group of Sonic creatives there this weekend.
I want to be there.
Well, of course you do.
Yes, I do.
It's a big show. It's a good show.
Yes.
And besides that, you can keep up with all my doings at BumbleKast.com or on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC.
And of course, you can find out what I'm up to over on Twitter at KyleJCRB. And you can head on over to kngi.org to go check out the archives of this show, as well as many others on the KNGI podcast network. And of course, I'll be streaming live Game Fuel every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at 8BitX on 8bitx.com. It's my long-running video game music remix show. So be sure to tune in if you want to check out some awesome video game music arrangements and, original soundtracks here and there sometimes. It's a lot of fun. And, of course, keeping with the theme, it's all Sonic this month. So if you're hankering for some Sonic tunage, head on over to 8bitx.com at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday, and I'll be there.
We're going to wrap up the show with a shout-out to all the folks that have contributed to the Patreon. We thank you so much for supporting us. It really does mean a lot that you stuck with us so far. The few, the proud, the devoted. Give a shout-out to S. Yuvardovich 9X, Daniel H., Danielle L., Samuel P., Justin G., Connell T., James K., Patty M., and Alex B. Thanks again, guys. You are fantastic.
I salute you. This week's theme song was brought to you by Carbo Hydro M, rockin' guitar guy. You can check out more of his music over at carbohydrom.net.
We will see you again on June 27th for BumbleKast episode number 20, where we'll be talking about the other side of the Sonic franchise, namely the comics and the cartoons. I might have a little bit to talk about them.
It's gonna be good.
Thanks so much for joining us for episode 19. We will see you then. Have a good one.
See you later.
You managed to make that creepier every single time.
You're welcome. I was trying to come up with something Sonic related, but I couldn't think of it right at the end there. I failed.
Hi there, and thanks for listening to the BumbleKast. If you liked our show, be sure to hit the subscribe button and consider supporting us on Patreon. We have some great rewards as well as big plans on how to make the show even better. Also, rate and review our show on iTunes. It gets more folks listening and helps us out, so we definitely appreciate it. Original music composed by Ken Coda Snyder, used with permission. Find more of his music at bc.s3m.us and find the theme song at noisechanradio.bandcamp.com, available as a pay-what-you-want download.